Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 1 Cheryl Elston. We warmly welcome the family of Flight Sergeant Alan Stewart Jackson, whose story will be told shortly. We also welcome Sharon Bown, National Vice President, Australian Air Force Association, and a member of the Australian War Memorial Council. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Flight Sergeant Alan Stewart Jackson. Alan Jackson was born in Toowoomba, Queensland on the 25th of December 1924, the son of John and Olive Jackson. He grew up in Toowoomba where he attended North State School and then the Technical College. He was a promising amateur boxer, winning several trophies. Alan went on to work at Forsyth and Thompson Joinery Works before being employed by Queensland Railway as a junior station porter. Alan's father, known as Joe, enlisted early during the Second World War and was serving with the 2nd 18th Battalion. Joe Jackson was killed in action in late January 1942 while ambushing Japanese forces advancing on Singapore. Despite being underage, Alan enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force. After passing a proficiency examination in November 1942, he signed up on the 29th of January 1943. After initial training, elementary flight school and special flight training school, Alan Jackson specialised as an air gunner, attending bomber and gunnery school at Evans Head in New South Wales, before being awarded his flying badge on the 14th of October 1943. He embarked at Melbourne on the 17th of November 1943, bound for the United Kingdom. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, Jackson was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners, and engineers who, throughout the course of the war, joined the Royal Air Force Squadrons or Australian squadrons based in Britain. In the United Kingdom, Jackson joined Number 18 Operational Training Unit. This unit had been formed from a Polish training unit as part of the Bomber Command, training crews to operate Vickers Wellington's aircraft. In June 1944, Jackson joined Number 115 Squadron, Royal Air Force, which undertook bombing raids on targets in Germany and Italy, as well as mine laying in French ports and the Bay of Biscay. On the 27th of August 1944, Jackson was the rear gunner in Lancaster Hotel Kilo 556, which took off from Cambridgeshire as part of a mission targeting Kiel, a port city on Germany's Baltic Sea coast. Nothing further was heard from the aircraft, which never returned to base. All 7 crew members were presumed to have been killed. Today, Alan Stewart Jackson's name appears on the Runnymede Memorial on the banks of the Thames, which commemorates over 20,000 men and women from the air forces of the British Empire who were lost in operations during the Second World War and have no known grave. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flight Sergeant Alan Stewart Jackson, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrubber Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.